Okay, we are live. Hello, good evening, and welcome back to another special strategy session with Ayushi ma'am and yours truly. Today, we are talking about 5 months to AILET. So, welcome to the session, Ayushi ma'am, once again.
थैंक यू सो मच गोविंद एंड सेम टू यू एंड फटाफट से हमें बता दो कि वी आर परफेक्टली विजिबल एंड ऑडिबल.
Quick responses in the chat box, please. Can I have quick yes in the chat box if we are audible, visible, PPT is visible? Are we good to go? All right. Mugda is here, Robos is here, Riva is here. All right. Okay, let's start. So today's discussion is gonna be about AILET, the exam which you need to appear for in order to secure admission to NLU Delhi. We all know that, right? So that's the agenda. We'll talk a little bit about the exam. We'll talk about how you need to analyze your preparation as of now, your progress as of now, how you can look at it better, where should you be standing as of now in terms of your preparation. We'll be talking about the key differences between CLAT and the AILET exam from an objective point of view and also from a preparation point of view, that how are these two exams different. And of course, we'll be talking about how you can do a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then we'll be giving you a subject wise roadmap on what are the important key areas you need to emphasize upon and what are some important do's and don'ts. And then, of course, we'll open the floor for discussion and you guys can ask all your doubts and questions, and we would be more than happy to answer. So, with that, I think Ayushi ma'am, let's start our session.
So yes, today's agenda for the session would be what all your AILET exam is all about and the details and the few of the dates that has been released. Then we'll move forward with the introspection and progress update. Where have we reached actually with respect to the paper and the examination? Then we'll be doing CLAT versus AILET, what is actually there in CLAT and what is actually there in AILET, and how to prepare for both examinations simultaneously. SWOT analysis will be done, and then we'll be talking about the 5 month subject wise roadmap. That is the key agenda of the whole of the session. And then, yes, we have certain important do's and don'ts, and that is the agenda of the session for today. Going ahead with what all ALET 2026 exam details are about. So, to all the students, we already know the the exam date is announced, and it is 7th of December 2025. Last year, it was 8th of December 2024. Okay, so the first Sunday of the December has been taken up by ALET this time, and we are hoping that CLAT examination would be the for last Sunday of November. Apparently, that is 30th of November. It's just speculations that we are making because CLAT always happened before ALET. So that is a speculation, but yet there is no notification released with regard to CLAT as such. So the registration for sure will be open for AILET examination on 1st of August this year as well, like last year. Last year also 1st August 2024. The registrations were open, and we have this paper as an offline mode paper. We already know that. The exam would be conducted from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Also, there are three sections that are majorly involved: English, current affairs, GK, and logical reasoning. Where logical reasoning have legal reasoning questions as well. But apparently, we have seen within the years that they intermix the section and they ask questions, in English as well. Then they'll be asking. Then they'll be asking similar kind of questions, and then yes, we'll be giving one marks for correct answer, and there will be a 0.25 negative marking as well. This is all about the exam details, and yes, going to you the syllabus at a glance.
All right, before we discuss the syllabus, I want to highlight one specific fact. When we looked at the number of questions for each particular section, if you add them up, they turn out to be 70, 30, 100, and 150. If my math is correct, those are 150 questions. And the time is 2 hours. What does that tell you? How is that different from CLAT? CLAT has 120 questions, 120 minutes. Here you have 150 questions, but the same 120 minutes, which means AILET is more about speed and being very accurate and being very fast. So we'll talk about that later, but just keep that point in mind that you have to solve 30 extra questions in the same amount of time here, which makes it a little more intense. Now, talking about the syllabus, there's a major overlap when you look at both the exams, CLAT and AILET. There's a big overlap in terms of the English section. I don't think there is anything which is specific to AILET which is different from CLAT in terms of the English section. Mostly passage-based questions, vocab-based questions, grammar-based questions, sometimes a little obscure questions like figure of speech, etc., etc. But now we are used to those surprises from AILET. Har bar we know that something new is gonna come. So we are mentally prepared for that through mock tests and through sectional tests. Talking about the logical reasoning section, this is the fun part. Here, how it's different from CLAT is, although CLAT was not asking analytical reasoning questions for the past few years, but we saw a change in trend last year where there was a puzzle, albeit a wrong puzzle, but still a puzzle, analytical reasoning question in the CLAT exam. AILET, on the other hand, has been asking analytical reasoning questions for quite a while, and we would have to prepare them quite well. So, all your topics like puzzles, like your number series, blood relations, direction sense, etc., etc., those kind of questions sort of become relevant here. And of course, the critical reasoning questions, we all know them, is assumption based, inference based, conclusions based, strengthening, weakening, all of that is there. But the different part here in this particular exam is that the logical reasoning section can be called a mixed melting pot of various sections. हिंदी में बोले तो खिचड़ी सेक्शन है एकदम. इसमें आपसे इंग्लिश के पैसेज भी पूछे जा सकते हैं, आपसे लीगल रीजनिंग के पैसेज भी पूछे जा सकते हैं, करंट अफेयर्स तो चलो नहीं पूछे जाएंगे, मैथ्स भी नहीं पूछी जाएगी, बट या 3 different subjects can be sort of intertwined in this particular section. So that makes it a little tricky to handle it from a strategy perspective. That, let's say you are going with a strategy where you're expecting that these many questions would be of critical reasoning, these many of analytical reasoning, these many of legal reasoning, these many of comprehension based, but somehow they give you a twist and let's say 80% of the questions are legal reasoning based and 20% are analytical reasoning. There's no critical reasoning at all. That's absolutely a possibility which can be the outcome. So we have to prepare for all possible permutations and combinations for this particular section. We have to be completely prepared in every front. Now, talking about the last section, and this is another section which is quite distinct from CLAT in terms of how you prepare for it. The GK section of the current affairs section for AILET is notorious for asking questions which are a little obscure, which are a little, less highlighted sometimes. So what we usually do for CLAT is we look at editorials, we look at news which is of national importance, we look at news which is of various important categories, sports, award functions, etc., etc., international events, global summits, all of those things. But when you talk about AILET surprisingly can ask you anything under the sun. It's a little weird that way. And that's what makes it a little trickier as well. So when you talk about preparing GK for CLAT, what I usually recommend students is, based on my experience, that CLAT is now going a little deeper into your subjects. So if let's say we're talking about the BRICS summit, which is happening in Brazil, CLAT might ask you who conceptualized the idea of BRICS or when was BRICS originally formed. So it goes a little in depth. It asks you the behind the scenes questions, the background GK questions, and you have to prepare comprehensively. AILET, on the other hand, requires you to know a lot of things on a broader level. So one is, I would say, vertical expansion, CLAT. So you go from news to its depth, and one is a horizontal expansion where you try to cover a lot of different news and you get to know a lot of different things, but maybe not go that deep. So you have to integrate both the things if you are an aspirant who's preparing for both CLAT and AILET, and I'm assuming most of you are. ऐसा बहुत ही कम स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं जो सिर्फ AILET के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो, CLAT के लिए ना कर रहे हो. So unless you are that exception, you have to prepare in both. right? Horizontally as well as vertically. So yeah, that is one thing which is coming to my mind right now while looking at the syllabus. Rest of the points we'll of course discuss when we look at the comparison between the two exams. And yeah, I mean, it's always good that you have a good hold on your static GK for the AILET exam. So basics of history, basics of geography, basics of polity, subjects are mentioned on your screen. We need to have a good basic idea of all of these subjects. Now, I know these subjects are very broad, very dense, very in depth, but what we want is at least the most important points. So, when you talk about history, modern history and India's freedom struggle becomes a little important. When you talk about geography, Indian geography in terms of things which have been in news, that becomes important. So, probably a new national park, probably a new dam being built. So, that is how you have to think strategically that what is my examiner going to test me on, and a very good way to judge that is looking at past year question papers. So that is an exercise which you should keep on doing frequently, keep on taking a glance over the past year question papers to develop that understanding of how the question paper setter thinks in terms of setting questions of GK. Or if you were to put it yourself in his or her shoes, how would you think? How would you set a question for GK which would be a little tougher, which would test students on how well prepared they are? Right? So that is how we, approach this EK section. I think, yeah, that's quite what we need to know about the syllabus. I think we can move ahead. Ayushi ma'am.
Next would be introspection and progress update. With regard to the paper pattern, I just want to add few pointers that, as I already said, AILET is an examination which is full of surprises. Every time with their paper pattern, they actually try to make it a bit better from the last time, or they try to add something of their own into the same. So, थोड़ा सा अच्छे से ही प्रिपेयर होके जाना इज अ बेटर आइडिया। और प्लस एक बच्चे ने पूछा कि स्टार्ट मेरे को पास्ट के पेपर्स में करंट अफेयर्स के पैसेजेस नहीं दिखे, डायरेक्टली क्वेश्चंस दिखे हैं, और कहाँ से प्रिपेयर करना चाहिए, लूसेंट ही वाज आस्किंग। So yes, Lucent is a nice book for starting GK. Current affairs, you still need to prepare. So yes, going forward with the introspection and progress update, we have certain pointers that first, for any examination to go ahead with, or with in respect to anything in life also to go ahead with, you really need to work on your basics. If your basics aren't right, you won't be able to move ahead at all. सो दैट इज वाई हमको बचपन में प्लस और माइनस या डिवाइड या मल्टीप्लाई सिखाया जाता था, ताकि हम बाद में जाके ट्रिग्नोमेट्री कर पाए या डिफरेंशिएशन इंटीग्रेशन भी कर पाए। तो यस, बेसिक्स अगर हमारे होल्ड पे नहीं होंगे तो वी वोंट बी एबल टू सक्सीड। सो देयर आर सर्टेन क्वेश्चंस दैट यू रियली नीड टू आस्क एट दैट मोमेंट। आपने बहुत पहले प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट कर दी होगी, कुछ बच्चे अभी प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट कर रहे होंगे, या कुछ बच्चे 2-4 महीने पहले ही स्टार्ट किए हैं, कुछ बच्चों ने 1 साल पहले स्टार्ट कर दिया। तो with respect to each and every kid, you really need to know and ask certain questions to yourself only. That yes, am I giving enough attention to AILET along with my CLAT prep? क्योंकि काफी बार ऐसा होता है कि जब हम CLAT की प्रिपरेशन कर रहे होते हैं तो हम AILET को साइडलाइन कर देते हैं, एंड वी थिंक द एग्जाम इज जस्ट फॉर वन कॉलेज, और क्लैट के लिए तो हमारे पास ज्यादा सीट्स हैं, ज्यादा कॉलेजेस हैं। एलिट के विद रिस्पेक्टिव में हमारे पास कम कम सीट्स है, प्लस एक ही कॉलेज है। बट देन एलिट इज ऑल्सो एन वेरी गुड एग्जामिनेशन टू गेट इनटू अ वेरी गुड कॉलेज। सो समवेयर अराउंड अगर मैं एनएलएस को देखूं तो उसके बाद अगर मैं किसी कॉलेज को रखना चाहूँ तो मैं एनएलयू दिल्ली को रखूँ। इट्स दोनों दोनों आर द टियर 1 cities, दोनों आर द मेट्रो cities, plus they have good hold with respect to their academics as well. NLU Delhi is really doing good as well. So both the examinations are really important, and we need to know that what are we doing with respect to AILET. हम हमेशा बोलते हैं कि क्लैट और एलिट की, अगर क्लैट की प्रिपरेशन होती है तो एलिट की प्रिपरेशन तो होती ही जा रही है, बट देयर आर सर्टेन पॉइंटर्स, थोड़े से ट्रिक्स होते हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एलिट जो आपको ध्यान रखने होते हैं। मेजरली स्टैटिक जीके वो मेन ही होता है, देन लॉजिकल रीजनिंग में एनालिटिकल रीजनिंग आपको बहुत अच्छा आना चाहिए, और इंग्लिश में आपकी वोकैब पे होल्ड बहुत अच्छा होना चाहिए। तो दीज आर द 3 और मेजर, और भी बहुत सारे पॉइंटर्स होते हैं, बट मेजर 3 पॉइंटर्स दैट आई कैन रिलेट विद द स्टूडेंट्स, जो जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स से मेरी बात हुई होती आई है, उनके जितने भी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, दीज आर द मेजर 3 प्रॉब्लम्स जो मेरे को हमेशा लगी है। Then, have I made a roadmap and strategy personal to the AILET exam and my situation boards drop college with respect to anything? अगर मैं बोर्ड्स में हूँ या मैं ड्रॉप ईयर हूँ विद रिस्पेक्ट टू कॉलेज ऑल्सो, क्या मैंने रोड मैप बनाया, क्या मैंने उस स्ट्रैटेजी प्लान की विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एलिट, क्या मैंने क्लैट को ही ज्यादा टाइम दे दिया लेकिन मैंने एलिट को टाइम ही नहीं दिया? ठीक है, जो 12th गोइंग स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके लिए तो ये बहुत टफेस्ट चीज हो जाती है कि भाई हम क्लैट के लिए ही इतना कम टाइम निकाल पा रहे हैं, हम एलिट के लिए कहाँ से निकालेंगे? तो जैसे मैंने बोला सर्टेन ट्रिक्स होते हैं, वो ज्यादा कुछ करना नहीं होता, बट एक ट्रिक्स होते हैं थोड़े बहुत और उनको आपको डील करना होता है, राइट? डू आई हैव द एडिक्वेट रिसोर्सेज एंड द राइट गाइडेंस टू प्रिपेयर? दिस इज द मेजर क्वेश्चन जो आपको खुद से पूछना चाहिए कि यस, क्या मेरे पास सर्टनली अच्छे से अच्छे रिसोर्सेज हैं क्या, और क्या मेरे को राइट गाइडेंस मिल रही है? We are coming up with strategy sessions for you guys every month, and that is the reason कि हम आपके लिए कुछ ऐसा रिसोर्स ला पाए ताकि आपके लिए हेल्पफुल हो जाए. तो yes, we are here, we are helping you out with the strategy part, but do you have enough kind of resources that will help you out for the A-Lit preparation? So yes, these are the major questions that you really need to ask, and you have to tell me now कि what all are the things that are actually you know जो आपके पास अभी भी नहीं है. कमेंट बॉक्स में आप बता सकते हो.
All right, makes a lot of sense. And अगर आपके पास right guidance और resources नहीं है तो अभी तक आपने CL join क्यों नहीं करी है? #brand plugin. और by the way, एक और चीज मुझे clarify करनी थी. NLU D is at joint second with Nalsar. It's not just at second. Both the colleges are at par with each other. So I won't hear any blasphemy about my college. Anyway, jokes apart, very solid advice, I would say. You need to have a roadmap for both the exams and do not neglect the AILET exam thinking that इसमें तो बस 60-70 odd seats हैं, मेरा कैसे होगा? देखो ठीक है, 60-70 odd seats हैं, but everyone is thinking that and everyone is afraid of the exam. If you take on that challenge and if you think that I can definitely do this, then no one's gonna stop you. Like I personally was more keen on cracking AILET. Now I say Nalsa because I am from Nalsa. That's a bias. But when I was an aspirant, I was honestly more keen on joining NLU Delhi. Firstly, because it was closer to my home. Secondly, because Delhi is the hub of legal infrastructure in India. Be it the major law firms, be it the Supreme Court, be it the High Court. Delhi is a great place to be if you are planning to be a legal professional. So definitely give it a good shot. It's a great university, no doubt about that. Not taking anything away from its prestige and its growth. Mukta is saying, I'm in 11th. How can I strategize for CLAT and AILET? Okay, we'll come to that question. थोड़ा सा लंबा discussion है वो. Let's just finish our agenda and then we'll come back to the questions and discuss them. Okay, Mukta. So stay tuned. All right, Shakti is saying, tell about registration for CLAT, AILET, SLAT, MHCT. Turn on the notification icon of the YouTube channel and you'll get the updates as soon as possible. We keep on, releasing updates as and when they come. So if you are tuned to the channel, you'll not be missing out on any.
I just want to hop and join every channel, Telegram as well, and YT as well, and Instagram as well. All the channels to stay updated, because I would be the one person who would be coming, okay, this is the notification that is out. So please stay tuned on that. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Ayushi, if you can drop the Telegram channel name in the chat box, I think that would help the students as well. While I talk about the next slide, which is how do you track your progress specifically in terms of AILET? So the first question is, how do you track it on a weekly and a monthly basis, and how do you set the right goals and targets? See, this is not rocket science. You have to simply do what you do for the CLAT exam. And if you're not doing it for the CLAT exam, then what are you doing with your life? Please do that. Please watch the session which we did on Monday, where we talked about strategizing for the CLAT exam. And similarly, you have to chart a roadmap for your AILET exam in terms of, okay, let's say I cover my GK from a CLAT perspective. In a particular week, I do the Hindu analysis, I do the editorial, I do my month and magazine, and then I do a comprehensive roundup where I supplement those resources. At the end of the week, probably on a Saturday or on a Sunday, you might talk about reasoning. Let's say you are doing critical reasoning or its practice on every alternate day. One of those days in the week, keep it for analytical reasoning. clear your concepts, do one new topic, try out some shortcuts, try out some practice questions, try out some topic tests, whatever it is based on your particular mock performances and strengths and weaknesses. Identify where you need to, plug in those extra hours or those extra topical tests, which also take you side by side in terms of your career preparation, so that it does not get neglected. कि at the end of November, you are not in touch with analytical reasoning, you are not in touch with the widespread current affairs, you have a backlog in terms of AILET specific current affairs. So वो चीजें नहीं होनी चाहिए. Start if you haven't. I think there was some technical glitch. I lost my network suddenly. Am I audible now? Am I audible now, folks?
You
Can I have a
were
quick
not.
chat box?
My networks were bad.
Yeah, even my network went off. I think some technical glitch on the platform. Are we both audible and visible now? Can we have some quick confirmation?
Hello, hello, hello. Hi.
Yes?
Okay.
Okay, great. So मैं आप लोगों को बता रहा था किसके बारे में? हाँ, to prepare simultaneously for CLAT and AILET so that there is no FOMO at the end of October or November that okay मैंने AILET specific तैयारी नहीं करी, मैंने analytical reasoning ignore कर दी, मैंने AILET specific GK ignore कर दी. That should not happen. Start doing it right now. पिछले 5 months का जो आपको लगता है बैकलॉग है उसको क्लियर करो फ्रॉम एन एलिट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू एंड सी वेदर यू आर पेइंग इक्वल अटेंशन टू एवरी सब्जेक्ट और नॉट एंड स्पेसिफिकली स्टैटिक जीके समवन वाज आस्किंग इन द चैट बॉक्स आई हैव लूसेंट जीके बट इट्स वेरी वास्ट हाउ डू आई कवर दैट सी लुक एट पास्ट ईयर पेपर्स लुक एट द ट्रेंड्स व्हिच CLAT is asking questions upon. मैं आपको examples दे रहा था जैसे modern history is one of them, geography which is relevant for news is one of them, technology which is new and relevant for India is one of them. Economic policies now become relevant because of the reduction in the repo rate, which has happened multiple times. So you need to know what exactly is repo rate, what is reverse repo rate, what is CRR, what is SLR. I am a PCM student, but I know all of this because I prepared this for CLAT. तब से ही याद है मुझे ये. So that is my point, right? You need to have a comprehensive hold on all of these subjects, be it science, be it economics, be it history, be it literature, be it technology, all of those things. You need to be a jack of all trades if you're going to be a top shot lawyer, and the preparation starts from this date itself. Okay, lastly is, am I consistently taking mocks and analyzing them to improve? This is very important. This is way too important and way too neglected because a lot of students, a lot of you don't take the AILET mocks. You think that okay, we're doing the CLAT mocks, that's enough practice, let's just stick with that. Please, please, please give your AILET mocks. They're there for a reason, right? They're there to help you understand and strategize how to utilize those 2 hours, those 120 minutes to tackle 150 questions, because the game is different, right? 120 questions in 120 minutes versus 150 questions in 120 minutes. So you have to be more strategic about the attempt. You have to be more shrewd in terms of your time management. You have to be more strict and disciplined in terms of which section you do first and which section later. Dipali is saying, is CLGK book enough for static? See, देखो, static में no book is enough. No one can ever claim that my static book is enough. Static is a vast ocean which has no end. So you might say that CL GK book भी कर ली मैंने, Lucent भी कर ली, Pearson भी कर ली, UPSC की भी 4 किताबें पढ़ ली. Still they might ask you a question which is not in all of those books. So that is also a possibility. But to answer your question, CL GK book would at least help you cover 90% of the ground, 90 to 95%. So that's a good start. Okay. Krishna is saying roadmap for MHCT. उसके लिए अलग से session करेंगे कृष्णा. We'll have a dedicated session for MHCT as well very soon. So hold on for that. Keep a look at the channel. Stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that. That's a whole topic of discussion in detail. Okay. Okay. आगे चलते हैं. What else do we have? Your preparation meter for July. So simply is an exercise which we, I think, do in almost every strategy session and deliberately do repeatedly in every strategy session, because we want this to serve as a wake up call. We want you to self analyze and introspect on where do you put yourself on a scale of 0 to 100 in terms of your preparation of the English section, in terms of your preparation of the GK section, in terms of LR section. Because that when you quantify something, it hits you realistically. So you might be thinking subjectively that my GK preparation is going on track. मैं रोज पढ़ तो लेता हूँ, रोज हिंदू एनालिसिस देख लेता हूँ, थोड़ा थोड़ा मंथन भी देख लेता हूँ, कभी कभी नोट्स भी बना लेता हूँ, तो जीके अच्छी चल रही है. Then suddenly when the mock results come and you see a 60 percentile or a 10 mark out of whatever in GK, then you think that what went wrong. This is what went wrong. You did not introspect that are you doing enough? Are you putting in the efforts which others are putting? So this is an exercise which you have to do for yourself on a daily basis, and if not daily, at least on a weekly basis, because this helps you get perspective of where you currently are. What can you do better? What can you supplement your preparation with? What extra can you do for your preparation which can give you an edge of a couple of more marks? So keep on thinking that you should be crazy about improving yourself every particular day, because that small improvements compound very quickly and then they show you quick results. So जब आपको लगता है कि मेरे मॉक का रिजल्ट बढ़ नहीं रहा या फिर मेरे नंबर नहीं बढ़ रहे मॉक में, that happens gradually. It won't happen in a day that you take a mock, then you analyze it, then you work, and then you go from a 60 to 90. No, that's a gradual process, a step by step process, and you cannot jump the gun. You cannot do a shortcut for it. There's no shortcut for it. So yeah, you have to be consistent, have to be honest with yourself. Honesty is the best policy. हमें बचपन में सिखाया जाता है quote, very valid here. You might be dishonest with your mentors or your parents or anyone else, but at least be honest with yourself. Where do you currently stand? You know that the best. No one can tell that for you, right? So yeah, do check on how prepared you are. Now, talking about the key differences between CLAT and AILET, although we have covered it in a little bit of detail in the previous slides, but sure, let's go through the points once again for emphasis. So, Ayushi ma'am, would you like to take us through this?
So yes, CLAT versus AILET डिबेटेबल टॉपिक तो नहीं ही है, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं जब हम CLAT की पढ़ाई करते हैं हम हमेशा यही बोलते हैं कि हम AILET तो पढ़ ही लेंगे. बट थोड़े से डिफरेंसेस हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू CLAT एंड AILET. दिस जो स्लाइड पे लिखा है जस्ट द मेजरली क्या क्या होता है, क्या क्या नहीं होता है. बट यस, एम्फेसिस ज्यादातर CLAT के अंदर, जैसे मैं 3 पॉइंटर्स की बात कर रही थी, एम्फेसिस ऑन योर करंट अफेयर्स विद रिस्पेक्ट टू योर CLAT होना चाहिए, लेकिन स्टैटिक जीके आपको AILET में आ जाएगा. तो देर इज अ डिफरेंस. लेकिन आप CLAT में भी क्वेश्चंस पूछने लगे हैं स्टैटिक के, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि CLAT इज नॉट आस्किंग स्टैटिक. तो मैं अगर AILET के लिए प्रिपेयर नहीं कर रहा हूं तो फिर मैं CLAT के अंदर स्टैटिक नहीं भी पढ़ूंगा तो भी चलेगा, ऐसा नहीं है. जीके करंट अफेयर एक टॉपिक है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू CLAT, एंड यस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू AILET एज वेल. जीके करंट अफेयर एक टॉपिक ही है. तो यस, आपको स्टैटिक वहां पे ज्यादा पूछा जाएगा, लेकिन अगर आप AILET के अंदर स्टैटिक पढ़ लोगे तो आपको CLAT में कहीं ना कहीं यूज हो ही जाना है. तो दैट इज वन थिंग कि एक एग्जाम, एक तीर से दो निशाने. तो अगर आप एक चीज कर लोगे तो वो दोनों के लिए आपके लिए हेल्पफुल होगी. अगर छोड़ दिया तो दोनों में नैया डूब जाएगी. ठीक है, तो वो तो करना इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट. एम्फेसिस मोस्टली ऑन क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग फॉर श्योर. CLAT के अंदर एम्फेसिस ज्यादा जाता है फॉर क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग. वहीं अगर मैं इधर पे बात करूं तो AR का ज्यादातर चीजें पूछी जाती हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एनालिटिकल रीजनिंग. कुछ बच्चों ने पूछा भी है कमेंट्स में कि AR के लिए कौन सी बेस्ट बुक होती है. देयर आर मेजर 2 बुक्स जो बहुत अच्छी होती है. दैट इज RS अग्रवाल एंड MK पांडे. आप दोनों रेफर कर सकते हो. एनालिटिकल रीजनिंग दोनों में ही अच्छी दी हुई है. ऑल्सो थोड़ी लेंथी बुक्स है, तो प्रिफरेबल होता है कि अगर आप CL के साथ एज अ एनरोल्ड स्टूडेंट हो तो वहां पे आपको थोड़ा कम मटेरियल मिल जाता है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू AILET स्पेसिफिक या CLAT स्पेसिफिक. उसके अंदर दोज बुक्स आर एक्चुअली मेड फॉर द वेराइटी की बहुत सारे और एग्जाम्स अगर बच्चा लिख रहा है तो उसके लिए. बट देन अगर आपको थोड़े डिफाइंड वॉल्यूम में क्वेश्चंस चाहिए तो फॉर श्योर यू विल गेट द मटेरियल फ्रॉम CL. ब्रांडिंग थोड़ी सी, बट ठीक है. देन वी आर गोइंग अहेड विद यहाँ पे आपको लीगल जीके भी काफी पूछे जाते हैं. तो मैगजीन्स आपको काफी पूछे जाएंगे, आपसे अमेंडमेंट्स पूछे जाएंगे, आपसे और भी थोड़े बहुत कंसेप्ट पूछे जाएंगे. ठीक है, तो देयर इट कम्स कि यहाँ पे लीगल जीके विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू व्हाट ऑल स्टैटिक लीगल भी पूछा जाएगा प्लस करंट लीगल भी पूछा जाएगा। क्लैट में अगर बात करूँ तो मोस्टली जितने क्वेश्चंस होते हैं वो करंट लीगल नॉलेज से आते हैं। तो और अगर मेरे पास 6 से 8 पैसेजेस आने वाले हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू लीगल, तो वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द जितने भी टॉपिक्स होंगे वो करंट लीगल से होंगे। लेकिन यहाँ पे अगर मैं बात करूँ तो यहाँ पे डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस होंगे आपके पास मोस्टली। और हमेशा एलेट आपको सरप्राइज देता ही देता है, जैसे मैं बात कर ही रही थी इनिशियली कि वो ऐसे टॉक्स डाल देता है बीच में कि यू विल बी सरप्राइज, अरे ये वाला क्वेश्चन कैसे पूछ लिया इसके अंदर। तो काफी सारे बच्चों से जब मेरी बात होती है तो दे आर लाइक कि मैम पता नहीं क्या पूछ लिया इस बार। तो हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ दे कम अप विद समथिंग न्यू। और तो यस, बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट, बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर द वो क्या बोलते हैं, एक सरप्राइज हमेशा फॉर एलेट। यहाँ पे क्लैट के अंदर थोड़े माइनर वेरिएशंस ही होते हैं, ज्यादा वेरिएशंस होते नहीं है। अगर मैं बात करूं, मैं ये बात भी पहले ही बता चुकी हूँ विद रिस्पेक्ट टू क्लैट एंड एलेट कि यहाँ पे ज्यादा बच्चे बैठते हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ज्यादा सीट्स, यहाँ पे थोड़े कम बच्चे बैठते हैं लेकिन यहाँ पे सीट्स भी उतनी ही कम है। तो अगर मैं बात करूं दोनों का रेशियो, तो यस यहाँ पे आपके लास्ट टाइम का एस्टिमेशन वाज अराउंड 62 to 68,000 स्टूडेंट्स और विद रिस्पेक्ट टू क्लैट। और क्लैट के अंदर वी हैव सर्टनली 3,000 मिला के 3,500 कुछ सीट्स हैं क्यूमुलेटिवली इंक्लूडिंग द रिजर्व कैटेगरी एज वेल। वहीं अगर मैं यहाँ पे बात करूँ तो 15 से 20 हजार के अराउंड बच्चों ने पेपर लिखा था लास्ट टाइम, और उसमें से 110 सीट्स आर फॉर योर BLLB। तो यस, थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है एलेट में जाना। 0.1% में अगर आप आते हो तो आप वहां पे पहुंच पाओगे, तो इट्स रियली टफ। दोनों ही लाइट ग्रुप्स हैं, दोनों में अगर आप टॉप 5 एनएलयूज की बात करूं तो यस, आप एलाइड ग्रुप में जाना तो आपको 0.1% में तो आना ही पड़ेगा। और वहां पे पहुंचना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है, थोड़ा टफ है, इसलिए वी आर हियर विद द रोड मैप नाउ। Okay, now how I done a SWOT analysis? Over to you, Govind. इसके बाद we'll be going for the roadmap.
Okay, for all of you guys asking for SLAT details, we'll have a similar session for SLAT exam as well as the MHCT exam. So stay tuned for that because those are lengthy topics. You know, we want to discuss it in length. We want it to be a comprehensive session, not just give you 2 pointers. So yeah, that would come up very soon. Stay tuned to the channel. You'll get everything. Okay, next up we have SWOT analysis. Simply stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So let's say if I were a student, how would I do my SWOT analysis? I would first of all go back to my mocks course. And if I have not appeared for mocks, which I know a lot of you are not as of now, please start attempting mocks. That would give you a better picture of where do you currently stand. And when you look at your mock analysis, look at your percentiles, look at your subject-wise percentiles, look at your overall percentile, and of course, look at your score. That is also a key metric. But why percentile? Because it tells you about relative performance. So when you have a percentile above 90 in, let's say, English section, that would mean that English is a strong section for you because you are outperforming 90% of the crowd. On the other hand, I know quant is a tricky section for a lot of you. A lot of you don't attempt the quant section in mocks. A lot of you are afraid of the quant section. I was one of them. Luckily, countered my fear and phobia of maths. But yeah, that is a problematic section or a weakness for a lot of you. So once you have identified these strengths and weaknesses, I'll tell you what is the next step. But the first step is being honest and identifying that this is a strength, this is a weakness. Now, what are opportunities? Opportunities, once you have done this analysis, you have an opportunity to note them down and improve on them, to work on them. A lot of students look at the mock, look at the analysis, but don't take action on what needs to be done. And they miss out on that opportunity to improve that weakness and outperform themselves in the next mock. Or maybe make new mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes. And what are threats? If you don't work on these opportunities, they come back to bite you as a threat after a few weeks or after a few mocks. When you don't see your score improving, when you see your score stagnating, and then you are clueless on what's going wrong, you actually know you did not take action on what had to be done, you did not capitalize the opportunity, and now it becomes a threat for you when you are standing in, let's say, November or October, and you are still scared of quant section, when you are still having a backlog of GK. All of those become major threats to encounter, and then you guys get anxious and nervous. A lot of students go through that phase every year, but we don't want you to go through that phase. So start right now, do your SWOT analysis, today itself, after this session, look at your mock scores, identify not just subject wise that English is my strength, but also go a level deeper, go topic wise that okay, assumptions are my strength, but inference questions are my weakness. Similarly, in the different sections, you can apply the same logic, right? So that is how SWOT analysis works. Pratyush is saying when will CL revision for all sections happen? This time for that, we still have 5 months left. So I think most likely when we are 3 months away from the exam, we'll start a revision series and we'll revise all the concepts and all those things. So I'm saying how many mocks should I be giving per week right now? At least one. I would say start with at least one. If you are comfortable in giving and analyzing and working on the action points from a single mock and you feel that you have the bandwidth for a second mock, then sure, go for a second mock. Go for a mock which is of a different difficulty level or of a different pattern or of a different exam or even of a different institute. I don't mind that as well. But yeah, be consistent with your mocks. Okay, रिवाइज saying एंड में जीके मैराथन बिल्कुल होंगी, वो तो ट्रेडिशन है, प्रथा है, उसको कैसे
पर
break करना?
कैसे छोड़ देंगे, मतलब ऐसा हो नहीं सकता ना.
सही है, जीके मैराथन्स होंगी, सारी मैराथन्स होंगी, नॉट जस्ट जीके, वील हैव मैराथन्स फॉर एवरी सब्जेक्ट. ठीक है, ओके, नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द मेन क्रक्स ऑफ दिस सेशन, द प्राइम thing which you have to focus on in the next 5 months, the 5 months roadmap. What are the things which we want you to give special emphasis on, which we want you to take care of in the next few months? Ayushi ma'am, please path pradarshit करेगा.
So yes, जिसके लिए आप सबने आज एक सेशन ज्वाइन किया, तो we have to talk about the subject wise strategy as well. What all things would be covered in each and every subject. So yes, we majorly deal with 3 subjects while we talk about AILET as of now, and CLAT के अंदर हमारे पास 5 होते हैं. तो AILET में we have 3. जैसे मैं बात कर रही थी कि कहीं ना कहीं इंग्लिश में वोकैब ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ईच एंड एवरी स्टूडेंट, और वहीं कहीं ना कहीं क्लैट में भी बच्चों को वहीं दिक्कत आती है. एलेट की बात करूँ या क्लैट की बात करूँ, बट यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कत आती है बच्चों को विद रिस्पेक्ट टू वोकैब, क्योंकि मेजरली क्वेश्चंस आपसे डायरेक्ट होते हैं, घुमा के नहीं पूछे जाते हैं. तो यस, इंग्लिश में वोकैब इज वन थिंग जहाँ पे आपको ध्यान रखना है. रीडिंग कॉम्प्रहेंशन में आपको स्पीड का ध्यान रखना है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एक्यूरेसी, क्योंकि यहाँ पे नेगेटिव मार्किंग भी है. एंड अब टाइम ज्यादा है. पहले तो 90 मिनट्स में आपको 150 क्वेश्चंस करने होते थे, लेकिन अब आपके पास टाइम ज्यादा है, 120 मिनट्स आपके पास. तो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दैट आपको स्पीड को मेंटेन करते हुए बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स को भी डील करना है फॉर श्योर. आपके पास जितने ज्यादा हो सके उतने ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस करो, आरसीज प्रैक्टिस करो. पास्ट ईयर पेपर के क्वेश्चंस अवेलेबल हैं, वेल एंड गुड, बट कहीं ना कहीं अगर आपने क्लैट के लिए आरसी किए हुए हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू इंग्लिश, वो आपको एलेट में हेल्प करेंगे ही करेंगे. जैसे करंट अफेयर्स उतना ज्यादा हेल्प करे या ना करे विद रिस्पेक्ट टू क्लैट एंड एलेट, बट आरसीज फॉर इंग्लिश वुड रियली 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 हेल्प. तो जैसे आप प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो अपने क्लैट के लिए, वैसे ही आप प्रिपेयर करते जाओ फॉर एलेट एज वेल. और अभी तक अगर आपने मॉक्स लगाना नहीं स्टार्ट किया है, प्लीज गो अहेड एंड स्टार्ट गिविंग योर मॉक्स. दैट इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट. अगर आपने मॉक्स नहीं दोगे तो आपको समझ ही नहीं आएगा कि पेपर कैसा है. तो जितने ज्यादा हो सके उतने ज्यादा मॉक्स दो. ओके, गोइंग अहेड विद योर लॉजिकल पार्ट, आपका लॉजिकल के कंसेप्ट्स बहुत क्लियर होने चाहिए. आपको एनालिटिकल रीजनिंग के ट्रिक्स आने चाहिए, जितने भी आपके ट्रिक्स होते हैं टू सॉल्व द सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट क्वेश्चंस, कोडिंग डिकोडिंग हो गया, रिलेशनशिप क्वेश्चंस हो गए. इनके सबके ट्रिक्स आपके हाथों पे बैठने चाहिए, और आप उसमें बहुत यू हैव टू इंक्रीज द स्पीड, बिकॉज द होल ऑफ द पॉइंट ऑफ एनी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम इज स्पीड. अगर मुझे एक पेपर दे दिया जाएगा और बोला जाएगा इसको सॉल्व कर लो, तो शायद मैं 1 साल बाद पूरा सही सॉल्व करके उनको दे दूंगी. तो इट्स लाइक द टाइम, द एक्यूरेसी एंड योर प्रेजेंस ऑफ माइंड एट दैट मोमेंट ऑफ टाइम विच इज रियली रिक्वायर्ड फॉर एनी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम. So yes, you have to be very much aware about the concepts and उनको कितनी जल्दी आप इजीली सॉल्व कर सकते हो. मैंने ये बोला कि एनालिटिकल ज्यादा आता है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि क्रिटिकल आता ही नहीं. थोड़े बहुत क्वेश्चंस आते हैं क्रिटिकल के, और वो आपसे शायद इंग्लिश में पूछ लेंगे, या शायद वो आपसे जीके पे कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा क्वेश्चन जाके टवर्क्स जाके पूछ लेंगे. ठीक है, उनका काम है कि वो आपको सरप्राइज दें. दिस इज व्हाट एलेट इज ऑल अबाउट. तो वो सरप्राइज देंगे ही देंगे फॉर श्योर. Plus, yes, again, practice as many mocks as you can, practice as many sectional tests as you can. जितने पुराने मॉक्स होते जाते हैं तो अपन एक काम और कर सकते हैं, व्हाइल यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ ओल्ड मॉक्स जो बच्चे 1.5 साल से प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, जितने भी आपके पास पुराने मॉक्स हैं आप उनको सेक्शन वाइज अब सॉल्व करना स्टार्ट कर सकते हो, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं आप उनको भूल गए होगे। तो यू कैन पिक आउट अ सेक्शन, इंग्लिश का सेक्शन फ्रॉम दैट एंड यू कैन जस्ट सॉल्व इट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द टाइम दैट वी हैव। सो यस, हमारे 3 सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, तो हमको 3 सब्जेक्ट्स को कैसे टाइम देना है ये भी अगर मैं आपको बात करूं, तो कुछ बच्चे ऐसे करते हैं कि इंग्लिश को स्टार्ट करते हैं, सॉरी लॉजिकल को सबसे पहले स्टार्ट करते हैं, बिकॉज इट्स अ बिग बिग नंबर, 70 मार्क्स का पेपर, 70 मार्क्स का एक पूरा सेक्शन होता है। तो कुछ बच्चे लॉजिकल से स्टार्ट करते हैं, वो थोड़ा पार्ट करते हैं, उसके बाद दे गो अहेड एंड डू दैट करंट अफेयर्स, या फिर वो इंग्लिश करते हैं, देन दे गो अहेड विद लॉजिकल अगेन एंड देन दे एंड इट विद जीके या इंग्लिश। आप ये वाली स्ट्रैटेजी यूज कर सकते हो। आप दूसरी स्ट्रैटेजी यूज कर सकते हो कि आपने पहले लॉजिकल कर लिया क्योंकि दैट इज अ बिगर सेक्शन, देन इंग्लिश का, देन जीके कर लिया क्योंकि जीके इज अ स्मॉलर सेक्शन। आप ये भी कर सकते हो। अगर आपको ये करना है कि मुझे ब्रेक चाहिए विद रिस्पेक्ट टू माय रीडिंग कॉम्प्रहेंशन, तो आप इंग्लिश पहले कर लो, जीके कर लो, उसके बाद लॉजिकल कर लो। लेकिन सबसे बेस्ट प्रिफर्ड स्ट्रैटेजी ये होगी कि आप लॉजिकल से स्टार्ट करो, देन यू गो अहेड विद इंग्लिश, देन यू गो अहेड विद लॉजिकल, और देन यू गो अहेड विद जीके, या फिर जीके को आप बीच में कर दो, इंग्लिश की जगह पे रिप्लेस कर दो, तो आपको काफी ज्यादा टाइम मिल जाएगा, प्लस आपको ये चीजें समझ आने लगेगी कि मुझे करना क्या है, राइट। दिस इज द बेस्ट स्ट्रैटेजी जो बच्चों के लिए वर्कआउट की है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू अलॉट मेनी स्टूडेंट्स दैट आई हैव टॉक्ड टू, और ये वर्क भी करती है काफी बार। ठीक है, अब बच्चों का ये होगा कि कितना टाइमिंग्स देनी चाहिए विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ईच एंड एवरी सब्जेक्ट। तो इंग्लिश आपको कहीं ना कहीं 30 मिनट्स इज ओके, गुड इनफ टाइम। लॉजिकल के लिए आपको मैक्स टू मैक्स टाइम देना है 40 to 45 मिनट्स, और उसके बाद जितना आपके पास टाइम बचेगा दैट इज फॉर जीके। तो दिस इज द टाइम फ्रेम की, दिस इज अ टाइम ब्रैकेट दैट यू शुड ऑलवेज हैव फॉर योर सेक्शंस। और जब भी आप प्रैक्टिस भी कर रहे हो अपने मॉक्स, अब मॉक्स के अंदर भी जितने मैंने आपको स्ट्रैटेजीज बताई, तो स्ट्रैटेजीज को आप ऊपर नीचे करके भी देख सकते हो कि कौन सा आपके लिए बेटर बेटर परफॉर्म कर रहा है, कि मेरे लिए क्या सही परफॉर्म कर रहा है, एंड दैट इज अ स्ट्रैटेजी जो आपको लॉक करनी है टिल सितंबर। उसके बाद अगर आप वो स्ट्रैटेजी लॉक करोगे तो आप बहुत ज्यादा लेट हो जाओगे। तो मेक श्योर कि अभी आपके पास एक्सपेरिमेंट करने का टाइम है, यू हैव जुलाई, यू हैव अगस्त, आप बढ़िया से एक्सपेरिमेंट करो उन सारी चीजों में, और इन दी एंड जो भी स्ट्रैटेजी आपके लिए वर्क कर रही है, प्लीज गो अहेड एंड स्टार्ट डूइंग इट। Going ahead with the GK part, yes, GK is important monthly updates. गोविंद सर आते ही हैं आपके पास हिंदू एनालिसिस लेके, उसके बाद सीएल मंथन, थोड़ा सा ब्रांडिंग, एंड देन स्टैटिक जीके। आप लूसेंट से पढ़ सकते हो, या फिर आप अपने एनसीईआरटी से भी पढ़ोगे ना, आपके पास जीके थोड़ी बहुत तो थी, एनसीईआरटी से भी पढ़ी होंगी ना, उनसे भी पढ़ सकते हो, लेकिन दैट वुड बी अ लॉट। तो आई वुड ऑलवेज सजेस्ट सीएल booklets, we have good GK books, और प्रैक्टिस करो वन लाइनर्स जितना हो सके। एक्चुअली दिस इज अ वेरी नाइस थिंग, नॉट ब्रांडिंग एट ऑल, बट देन वी हैव डेली quizzes as well on our MyZone portal where students are actually enrolled. तो वहां पे आपको रोज के क्विजेस मिलते हैं, आपको गेम्स मिलते हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू जीके, और आप उनको खेलते खेलते भी यू कैन जस्ट लर्न इट, राइट। तो दैट इज अ बेस्ट थिंग टू डू। आप क्विज कर सकते हो, आप गेम्स खेल सकते हो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू जीके, एंड देन गोविंद सर इज ऑल हियर फॉर यू टू हेल्प आउट विद योर जीके सेक्शन। तो ऑल्सो लीगल भी ध्यान देना है, ऐसा नहीं है कि लीगल पे ध्यान नहीं दोगे, मेरा सब्जेक्ट है यार, ध्यान देना पड़ेगा आपको, तो लीगल पे ध्यान देना है, प्रैक्टिस करना है एज मेनी एज पैसेजेस एज यू कैन। क्लैट में कर ही रहे होगे तो वो कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ पे भी काम आएगा, बट मोर टुवर्ड स्टैटिक ऑल्सो। बच्चों को अभी भी दिक्कत आ रही थी कुछ इंटरनेशनल लॉज में, मैंने पूछा भी था कि कौन कौन से पैसेजेस हैं, यू कैन जस्ट कम अप एंड टेल। ऑल्सो वी कैन कम अप विद वन ऑफ द सेशंस ऑन इंटरनेशनल लॉज। तो नेक्स्ट टाइम मैं सोच रही हूँ, या इस वीक में सोच रही हूँ कि एक इंटरनेशनल लॉज के ऊपर एक सेशन लेके आऊंगी, तो ताकि तुम लोग के लिए बहुत ईजी हो जाए। क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा चीजें गड़बड़ हो रही थी, प्लस बच्चे करंट लीगल अफेयर्स नहीं पढ़ रहे थे, तो दैट इज ऑल्सो वन थिंग जहाँ पे आपको लैग हो जाता है कि आपको समझ नहीं आता कि पैसेज ने पूछा क्या, एंड देन यू आर नॉट एबल टू अटेम्प्ट द क्वेश्चन, आप छोड़ देते हो उसको, देन यू कम अप एंड से कि मैम बना नहीं पैसेज, अभी आप इंटरनेशनल लॉ दे रहे हो, हमको कैसे बनेगा। तो थोड़े बहुत अगर आप लीगल करंट अफेयर्स पे होल्ड रखोगे, तो यू विल बी एबल टू एक्चुअली सॉल्व एनी ऑफ द पैसेजेस दैट आर गिवन। एनीथिंग दैट यू रियली लाइक टू ऐड ऑन, गोविंद?
I think that was pretty comprehensive, to be honest. Let's just quickly go through the do's and don'ts, and then we'll take up some questions from the chat box. So these are quite simple to understand now that you have a good idea. As we have already discussed, give importance to all the subjects, do an in-depth analysis on the mocks. This is sort of like a summary of our session. Study GK every day to prevent a backlog and setting reasonable targets for the day, week, and month. And in don'ts, you have information overload, resource overload should not happen. Don't delay the AILET mocks. Don't postpone the AILET strategy. Don't delay the backlog. And of course, keep working on your reading speed and time management. So yeah, that sums up the discussion from our end, but we would love to answer all these questions which you guys have. So I'll just quickly start with the question. Sami is saying having trouble in quants, not able to understand in the videos. So how should I cover my quant section? See, although I'm not an expert faculty for quant, but my 2 cents would be that identify the topics which are recurringly being asked in the previous year question papers and get a good hold on topics like percentage, topics like ratio proportion, topics which basically help you handle numbers better. And then maybe you can look up for shortcuts. You can look up for CL videos. You can look up any other YouTubers videos. There are n number of videos for quant shortcuts, BI shortcuts, and then try to implement them into your topic test or your sectional test on your portal. And you definitely see some improvement. Practice is the game there. Riva, in terms of the quant section, the more you practice, the better you get, the more accurate you get, the faster you get. So yeah, it's all just practice. Dr. is saying AI takes a good amount of time. Like in the only AILET mock I gave, I could not complete the whole paper. What to do? See, that's where you have to be very strategic in terms of time management. What you need to do here is look at that analysis and see which questions took extra time, which questions were easy to solve, and based on that optimize a strategy where you probably keep an easier section in the beginning. Start with an easier section so that you gain some confidence as well as momentum, then probably tackle a section which you find a little challenging so that you use that momentum to your advantage, then again go to an easy section. That also answers another question which was asked: easy section first or hard section first, Pratyush? So alternate between them. That would be my suggestion, but everyone has a different strategy for it. Some students like covering the easy part first and then going to the hard part. Some students like to take the hard part first, head on, and then cruise comfortably through the easier parts. So it's totally up to your temperament, your strategy, your mindset. Try out different strategies, see what works best for you as a person, and then call on it. My overall suggestion would be easy and hard. Easy and hard is a good suggestion which works for a lot of aspirants. All right, Pratmesh is saying how to push accuracy in AILET. I've had mocks with 100 plus accuracy, 100 plus score, and total 7 marks in negative. See, that's good that you're scoring above 100. That's fantastic, first of all. 7 marks in negative. That's a good ratio. So, what you can try is push a little bit in terms of the questions which you are probably skipping. You can take your chances. Jin questions may you are a little 50-50 or a little iffy about whether I should attempt it or not. Go for those half chances now. That is where you would see a boost in your score. And trust your gut. Try to develop that gut instinct, gut feeling that comes with practice, and see if you can get to above 105 or not 110. Probably could be your next target, and see that whether you are able to sustain this ratio where you're not getting more than 10 incorrect or 10 negatives. Don't have to go for flukes, just the educated guesses. Try to push for that, Pratmesh. Advait, that is higher management's decision, not my call. Okay. ठीक है. I think I've answered most of the questions. Samya is saying for GK, except reading newspaper and Manthan, what should I do? Or is this enough? Or also, how do I retain so much GK knowledge? Well, that's simple. Just take a book like this and just rub it on your head. If you rub it for 10 minutes, you get the information stored in your brain. Jokes apart, you have to, make notes. You have to make notes and revise them on a periodic interval. So let's say you made notes for today's current affairs. Revise it after 2 days, then revise it after 7 days, revise it after 15 days, 3 periodic intervals, and you would never forget what you wrote. After a point of time, you would just be flipping pages of your notebook or your document sheet, whichever way you take your notes. Consistent revision is the only way you can retain so much information. And also, while absorbing information and noting down information, be very specific that you are filtering out the right topics. Don't gather a lot of irrelevant information. For example, banking related current affairs, not important for us. UPSC related current affairs, mostly not important for us. Similarly, other regulatory body related news, RBI related news, SEBI related news, usually not that important for us unless it's a very major policy change. So yeah, you should be a little strategic there as well. Mugdha is saying plan for 11th class. Abhi, take it a little easy. Try to develop your base for static GK. Try to get good at reading comprehension. Try to increase your reading speed. Try to increase your vocabulary. Try to get well versed with the subjects and comfortable with the subjects. Try to read up a little bit on legal, understand a little bit of tort law, contract law, criminal law, constitutional law. Watch Ayushi ma'am's videos on what's currently happening in current affairs, legal point of view. Say so. Yeah, for now, I would say prepare a solid foundation for your actual preparation, which would happen next year when you are in 12th standard. So I'm saying, from where should I make the notes then? It's totally up to you. Some people use Manthan, some people use newspaper, some people use other resources, UPSC level resources, and filter them out. See what works out the best for you. That's completely your decision. Okay. Can we get video of 6 months of current affairs? ठीक है, कर सकते हैं कोशिश. We can do that. That's a good idea. 6 months के I think we are doing monthly current affairs. Alex sir ने monthly series तो I think start कर दी है, monthly revision series. But ठीक है, I'll pitch it to the team and we'll see if that's possible. Good suggestion. All right, I think that sums up all your questions. Do I need to make notes daily for GK? Yes, Yug. The answer is a big yes. Okay, chalo. That's all from our side, guys. Thank you so much. You have been a lovely, lovely audience staying till the end. And I hope this session was a little insightful, a little useful, and you're taking away some valuable points here. All right, that's all from my side. Thank you so much, Ayushi ma'am, for coming here and enlightening us.
Thank you so much, Govind. Thank you so much, students. Bye-bye. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye, guys. Tada. Signing off.